you are live.
Okay.
I'm a little bit delayed.
Woo, what happened?
Well, it's on. It's going.
Okay.
And hopefully soon we'll be seeing people coming in. Okay.
All right. Well, tonight we're going to talk about logos and fonts. And I'm going to start with a slideshow, which is a kind of a brief history of what I've done. And then Freya and I are going to sit down and look at some of the sketchbooks and talk through them. But I got into designing fonts and logos as a kind of self-defense, because when I did my first album cover for The Gum...
Sorry, it was muted.
Start again?
Please.
I think people will take it for granted we screwed it up. All right. Well, tonight we're going to talk about fonts and logos. And first I'm going to do a slideshow, a rough history of the logos I've done. And then Freya and I are going to sit down and go through some of the sketchbooks. When I did my first album cover for The Gun, I did them a logo, and the font we used for the text, I believe, was Helvetica. And I thought how corporate and dull and utterly uninspiring it seemed. And I was struggling to think, how can I break out of this? How can I do my own thing? And at about, a little while after that, I came across Rick Griffin's Aux Moxa. And that was incredibly inspiring and freeing, because basically he said you can write your own rules. And that's really what I wanted to do. I had to learn how type was read. I had to get to understand all that business, the psychology of it, the technology of it, everything about it, what makes a readable type. And from there, I could then deconstruct it and go as wild as I liked, knowing that it could still be read. Essentially, what people do is read the top third of a line of type. So if the top third is legible and makes sense, the bottom bottom two-thirds can be very wild and woolly. One of the things we were taught at college, and is taught to this day, is that fonts like Helvetica look modern, are legible, easy to read, or easiest to read. And that's not true. They don't look modern, they look corporate. They look grey, corporate, and frankly dull. They're not the easiest to read. Really old-fashioned fonts like Times Roman are actually easier to read. Anyway, that's all aside. That was all kind of grist to the mill. I'm going to start showing you logos. Some of them involve words and some not. Basically, for me, a logo is in three parts: the words, the shape, and any heraldic device that comes with it. So this first one was a logo I did for myself back in the mid-70s, long after I did the Yes logo. Okay, can we go on?
Yeah, we can. I just want to take just a little moment. Are you all right, Matt?
Yeah,
Is it working?
it is working. We seem a little out of sync.
The microphone has a little tiny delay, is that right, after the video?
I don't know.
No. But you can press on. Is that all right, Matt? Dad could just carry on.
Yes, I think so. I'm just going to try and fix it.
What are people saying? Are they saying the fonts?
No, you're fine.
Are the logos?
Yeah, everything's fine. It's just when you're talking, the sound and your mouth moving are not quite happening at the same time.
It's always the way. How about if I do it like this?
Brilliant. There we go.
Okay, next slide, please.
There you go.
Okay. This was our first publishing company, Dragon's Dream. Okay, Freya? It embodied the things I said, a shape, the lettering, and a heraldic device, the dragon. Another dragon. This is the first Virgin logo in colour. It was not actually meant to be used.
Fine, carry on.
It was a rough. Next one, Freya. Okay, this is Richard acquiring the first Virgin logo. Next. And this is how it should have looked. This is a drawing I did back at the time, but it was never delivered and finished because they went and used the mock-up. Okay, Freya?
They've suggested you wear a mask. We could put you in one of your ones.
Okay. Next. Okay, this was also our company back in mid-1970s, coming up to the 80s. It is amazingly several seconds out of sync, isn't it? Okay, Magnetic Storm. That was Martin's idea for a company, and we still have it. Go on to the next one. Oh, these are a bunch of logos I did for Hank Rogers, who is the publisher of Tetris. You going on? Okay, I did a lot of stuff for Hank, and some of the best stuff I did was amazing, I thought. I did some of my best work for the Tetris company and Hank. Sadly, a great deal of it never saw the light of day. Okay. This is his company in Japan. It was called BPS. It was Bulletproof Software, then BPS, and then it became Blue Planet Software. Much better name. Go on. Yes, I wrote it out and painted it in 3D. That was fun. I enjoyed doing that, but it was an intricate job. This was for another software company. This was Signosis, based in Liverpool. And that was a lot of fun. I did a bunch of work for them in the mid-80s. Go on. Ah, this was a logo for a school, and then a TV series called Gnosis. Sadly never got made, but I very much like the logo. Space Needle, sadly short-lived New York band. And I did a whole series of logos for the Northeastern Art Rock Festival called Nearfest. Yep. So we'll go through a bunch of these, Freya, just all have those three elements: the name, the shape, and the heraldic device. Asia, that was really an interesting project for me because I was asked to do it after quite a long time after the band was formed, and I went to see Steve and Jeff when they were finishing recording, and they had a whole pile of logos and album covers suggestions on a piano while I was waiting for them, and I was looking through them all. And when they'd finished doing what they were doing and they came over, I said, "It doesn't look to me like you guys actually have a logo or an album cover here." And they said, "No, we don't." And I said, "Well, you know, I could do you something that looked nothing like the very curvy logo I did for Yes." So out of that conversation came this hard pyramidical Asia logo. And every one of the first three albums I did for Asia was also pyramidical in form. The first one was the dragon, then there was a pyramid, and then the third one was the robot Astra. Next one, Freya. So there's a number of different colorways for these logos. This is the fourth. And of course, I have done a huge number of Yes logos. Easily 50, probably more. I need to count them, actually. Actually, we should do a book of them. We should do a book of all the logos and the fonts. We'll do that. Okay. Similar series. Okay, these were designs for the box set, Yes Years, done for Atlantic Records. So they combine calligraphy and abstract shapes. And these are the designs for the CDs, and the box cover was the painting Yes Years, Yellow City. Yep. Oh, we've been there, Freya. You going the right way?
Yeah.
Ah, there we go. Well, I was walking through Ashdown Forest, walking Freya's dog, Kelvin, and I felt a thump on the bottom of my shoe. And this adder, that's what that snake is, an adder, it had struck at my shoe. And I thought, you cheeky bugger. Anyway, it was slithering away, and I decided to take its photograph and do a drawing of it for several of the Yes packages. Okay. Yeah.
I really like that one.
Yeah, me too. They were very colourful. So this one shows drawings of the stage we did for the 35th anniversary tour. And it's live at Songas. Songs from Songas. Okay? Poster and DVD cover. Same again. Poster and DVD cover. And this is the lettering I did for Anderson Broofer Wakeman Howe. So a lot more letters than just YES. So it was quite a considerable amount of work went into this. Yeah. Good fun though. Union. And at one point, I shouldn't say at one point, almost at every point, there was a dispute about the Yes logo. But at one point, the dispute was serious enough that I was asked to do a second design for the Yes logo. And although this was very simple, and I loved doing it, I loved the outcome very much. And I have a story that amused me. I was at a signing in San Francisco, and somebody asked me to draw the Yes logo for them when I'd sign whatever it was I was signing, a book or something. So I drew this one, and they said, "Oh, no, we want you to draw the curvy one." And I said, "Oh, I can't do that one." They said, "What do you mean you can't do it? That's ridiculous. I've done it 1,000 times in my school books." I said, "Well, thank you. You've done it 1,000 times. I've only ever done it once, and I can't remember." And to this day, I've only really drawn it in earnest once, although I've done layouts including it. I've only drawn it once for reproduction. And that was quite wobbly. I had a policy of when I was drawing significant fluid curves that it was impossible to get the smoothness of a big sweep. So I let it go. I thought if I put a tremor in it, I can hold the curve better than if I try to get it in one go. Okay? Yeah. Fun doing the dragonflies. I did a bunch of dragonflies. They are based on the silhouettes of real dragonflies, but the patterns in the wings are from...
Yeah, it's just reconnecting.
Internet. You may have to do a little apology for our internet while you're by the mic, Dad.
Is it not working?
Okay, Rebecca.
Have you got a backup internet?
What are you on?
BT?
No, we're on.
Oh,
We're rolling again. We're back on.
And we're back, yes.
Which internet?
We're on the BT mini hub.
Okay, good. Well, For those of you who are kind enough to keep watching, I imagine many of you want to throw it out the window and stop. We're still having endless internet problems. But hopefully we're also filming it where the film should be smooth and flawless. Fingers crossed. Okay.
Is that okay?
Yep, next one. Still a considerable lag, isn't there?
No, not for...
Okay, so this was a set of 4, and there was a 5th which was used for the Yes live from House of Blues. Anyway, these are 4 that I did for a set of prints. I love this one, the colours in this one. It's tiger moth colours in the wings, and the real tiger moth colours as opposed to a tropical fish. And this was the last one of that set, with a tabby cat pattern behind the Yes logo, just to be a little bit confusing. Okay, so yep, had fun doing 2002. 2003 had less symmetry, but these were tour logos for the tour merchandising company. Okay. Classic logo. Not quite the Tales from Topographic Oceans one, but close. Yep. Yep. So this three-dimensional version of the logo was first done for drama. And every one of these is hand-painted, whereas some of the classic logo versions are done in the computer, but this one is hand-painted. Okay, Freya? Yep. 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 Yes. So these were fun to do. Okay, classic logo but hand-painted. Classic logo coloured on the computer. Same again. Oh, hand-drawn, this one, for the album Fly From Here. I thought it would be fun to do a black and white logo with a dragon look. Okay. And this is another black and white logo with the patterns from Painted Lady Butterfly. I did a colour version of this as well. Yeah. And the next. Ah, a griffin. So again, going back to sort of classic heraldic elements. Ah, that's it. So, Freya, should we come and have a look at the sketchbooks?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Choose whichever seat you like.
I'm trying in here. What?
You look dressed for the part.
It's a busy day.
I'm believing everything.
Didn't have time for changing.
Okay, I'm believing everything you said. Okay, I'm going to make myself a seat. Can you give us a nod when it's working? Will do.
Also, I'm not being rude and going on my phone. I'm going on Dad's Facebook so I can see your questions as they come up.
Still rude.
But in their favour.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Okay.
So this would work best if we rotated everything like that. Is that right?
My top is sparkling. I've just seen that.
Your what?
Look, my top is sparkling. That's Fantastic. Keep it, keep it.
Oh, I know why. Sorry.
Oh no, I like it.
No. Won't be sparkling no more.
Oh no. Sorry everyone. We're just looking at ourselves now. Oh, someone's asked me about my mask, if I'm okay. Yeah, I've just been wearing this while Matt's been here, but if I'm just with Dad, not because there's anything wrong with Matt. As much to look after Matt as us.
Yes.
Yeah, so no, everyone's fine, thank you.
Okay, before we start talking about logos, I'm just going to show you some mechanical devices I have for signing. So this is usually an adjunct to a real signature. Is it going, Matt?
Mhm.
We're still out of sync, I think. Okay, so this is called a
Hanko. In Japanese, it's
Yeah,
a
we're looking
hanko.
now at you.
Okay, so traditional stone hanko, which was given to me as a gift by a Japanese client of mine, and the reason it's not entirely smooth is the paper is very rough.
Wrong camera. So we're looking at this one now.
Oh, okay, so you can see it. Pass me one of those bits of paper, they're very smooth. So this is a font that I designed, and that's a hanko. It's when it's done on tracing paper, it leaks a little because it's oil based and it does take quite a while to dry, so it's never that clean, but I love using it because it's a traditional means of signing. Now, something more modern and crisper, but in many ways less fun, but I still like it. This is just an ordinary rubber stamp. So as far as this is concerned, slightly bigger, but crisper and easier on things like tracing paper. Now this monster, oh bloody hell, weighs a ton, is an embossing tool, and I'll probably need to stand up to show you this one. Okay, so if I angle the light, you can see it's quite a significant level of embossing there.
We had a question, who made those? So you said you had a Japanese client who made the stone one.
I did. The rest are made commercially by different companies, and I can't remember them at this moment, but I will.
If you go to Japan though, on almost every other street there's a hanko shop where you can go, and they'll either design one for you, or if you give them the word that you want, or you can give them design and they'll cut it out.
Right.
In case anyone's
You should
wanting
get
one.
You should get one done of yours.
I have to have one. You have to have them to sign legal documents.
Aha. Okay. So this is an old sketchbook, and it's almost, well, it is. It's exclusively looking at logos. Sometimes the drawings are rough and loose, and they evolve and become harder. And there's a lot of stuff in here. This is, I suppose it goes back to roughly the mid-80s. I was designing watches, and that was a lot of fun. So these were for a watch company in Hong Kong.
So slower. Do it slower.
Okay.
You don't have to turn the pages slower, but linger a bit on the page. There's no point turning the pages slower.
It's impossible to maintain one's dignity with one's daughter. Okay.
Cengiz wants to know if our copper table is from Turkey. Do you remember where this came from?
No, I don't.
I think this was Maggie's, and I thought it was Moroccan.
That sounds like the most likely thing. Yes. So when
But it
they've
might
got
be.
the little owl in the corner, they were done for Signosis.
Was Signosis the only company that you marked?
I designed the owl logo for, yeah. And this
But,
is
I mean, do you only mark the Signosis stuff, or do you mark
no,
everything?
I did maybe not in this book, but yes, logos and others have little stamps. I like the stamps. I used to. I'm turning over a lot of these because I was going to move on to another book. So this is lots of so I tried out ideas with Blue Planet and I tried it out with other logos, and eventually it became a logo for Blue Planet Energy.
Can we just have a little moment with that one?
Yeah.
That's very nice.
So that was done with a crayon,
When you say crayon, do you mean colour pencil?
coloured pencil, yeah. And these designs were for Tetris. They wanted to do a bunch of Tetris products that looked like a fob watch, a pocket watch. So that was what that design was for. And similarly, these were all Tetris game devices. I did a lot of stuff for Tetris and a lot of stuff for Blue Planet, and stunningly little of it ever saw the light of day.
Are you scrolling through in the direction that you draw from back to front, Kaya asks? You start from the right hand side and trace over as you go left.
Exactly. So this is an earlier drawing than this. So the earliest are these. So it starts, that's the start, playing with that, going for something softer here. So this is a rough pencil,
Are these pages?
getting it solid.
Are these tracing paper, or are they something slightly different?
It's not tracing paper, this is detail paper. It's nowhere near as transparent as tracing paper, but it's very nice to work on, very smooth. And takes pen and pencil very well. God, I did a lot of different ones for Matthew.
Eric says, I'm looking at my sketchbook with disdain and shame now. Sketchbook, how can you be so sad? Look at Mr. Dean's.
Okay, so this is the beginning of a font called Galaxy, and I think I might actually have what it looks like finished. Somewhere I have it. Seems I don't. But this is a font where I did actually complete the full alphabet, and it was called Galaxy. I'm going to move on from this sketchbook.
Keith asked, where can you buy this type of sketchbook? Is this one that you had made, or did you buy this one?
No, I bought the paper and I had a bookbinder make them up for me.
Is that very expensive, having that done? Or?
No, I'd say no. I'd say it probably cost twice as much as just the raw paper. So, relatively speaking, for the pleasure of having it all in a leather-bound book, which it is a pleasure, I love working in that, it's, yeah, as I say, it was not much, it was double the cost of the paper.
So they'll need a bookbinder.
They need to find a bookbinder. And the bookbinder needs to be found because they enjoy the work. So,
Are you alright?
yes. Okay. Pass me that sketchbook behind you. What I'm looking at here is the early days of a design, and you can see it starts out totally abstract. It's kind of meaningless. Then I wrote Freya's name because I thought I'd make her a logo. So it's still becoming less abstract. And this is it, less abstract still, but all the shapes around remain abstract. And I did that a lot. So these are designs for posters where the lettering, the weight of it, I'm playing with how I want it to sit on the page without defining the shape or anything.
How many, Tim asked, how many hours, days, weeks are invested in your sketchbook?
A lot.
So that has the date on the spine. Does it say when, from, and to?
Yeah, this is from 13th of January 1994, 6th of October 1996.
So this is 2 years.
Ish, yes.
Would you have worked in that sketchbook exclusively, or is that 2 years across a few?
It was never that tidy. There tended to be an overlap. I'd work in it for a while and I might start another one. I never liked travelling with a nearly full sketchbook. So whenever I was on the road, I'd be working in a sketchbook that was relatively empty.
So Cindy says she can't find detail paper on the internet. Does it have any other names? Is it typo detail?
That's a slightly different paper, actually. Typo detail is more transparent and harder than detail paper. This is typo detail. So you can hear it. It's noisier. I'm not really sure which way round that is. I'm going to go for this, and I'm developing. I don't know. It was the other way. So I'm developing several fonts at once. I think this was for Glasshammer. I tended to do lettering large, so it would have been huge if I did everything this scale. But I like working this scale for the letters because I can work out the details of the letters better. Yeah, this is Glasshammer. So we've had G-L-A-S. I don't need to do S twice. M, I think.
Actually, we looked up something interesting the other day, didn't we? That irregular letters are allegedly easier for dyslexic people to read.
Yes.
And
yes,
I think you should do a font for people who are dyslexic, where the letters are slightly irregular. But it's particularly the ones that mirror each other, like P and D.
Yeah. I'm very dyslexic. Freya is not dyslexic, which doesn't mean she doesn't mirror her letters.
Not anymore. Not since I was 5 or 6.
Well, everyone should be perfect at 5 or 6. Okay, so yes, you can see it was Glasshammer. I even tried it in that Blue Planet swirl. So, and you can see, trying different ideas.
Apparently there is a font called Dyslexia, and come to think of it, does look a bit like Dean font, says Colin. You'll have to look at that.
I will. So we're still playing with that particular one. I'm going to go through these and stop if there's anything of interest. But I was looking at possible colours.
How are we doing on time? All right.
Yeah, we're okay.
Where are we? Okay.
So I tended, once upon a time, to have one book for fonts and logos and a totally different book for architecture and landscapes. So this is logos and fonts.
What are these? Why there are lots of stingray? What were they for?
They were for Nearfest.
Martin said, "Isn't that where the phrase 'What's your P's and Q's' came from?" I thought it was P's and Q's as in pleases and thank yous, but maybe that's. I think there are a few thoughts about that.
Yeah, I don't know. So these pencil drawings, I would do things finished in pencil or pen, green slate from early 70s. I think that was for some re-release when I thought it would be nice to revisit the logo. And this is Blue Planet being rethought for black and white. I'll just zoom past Tetris logo.
Sorry, I'm engrossed in the conversation. Some people say it's from P's and Q's as in pints and quarts, and some say, and Maddie said, typesetting P's and Q's. There's lots of options, aren't there? Oh, I like these. What were these?
I think this was Nearfest. So Nearfest wanted, I thought I would do a cat theme for Nearfest. So these are the different ideas. And this is amongst a bunch of ideas. I did a lot of stuff for Tetris, again, that never saw the light of day. So these were Tetris shapes that always linked up. So it's to add to the confusion. So the camouflage patterns always linked, so it was not always easy to see the shapes underneath. And it looked like you could make a very beautiful pattern this way, especially if the colours were carefully worked out. Having mentioned dyslexia, I'm slightly wary as we go through this book that we'll come across some words I've spelt wrong. These are set designs for Edgar for the Puccini Festival. Well, we're going to do a slideshow about the stage sets, so I won't stop and talk about them now.
Jasper asks, do you find it easier to sketch an idea on the computer nowadays or the pencil and paper?
Always pencil and paper. Yeah, much easier for a number of reasons. I just love the process, and I love the product. I love the pencil drawings on paper. I had a little batch of blue drawings, blue as in the colour. Okay, so there's some sneaky bits of architecture that have come into this.
Dave asked, was any of the staging kept as it looked great?
Well, if we're talking about Puccini Festival, they did say they kept the stages and the costumes, so maybe they have it, I don't know. The situation with the Yes stages is a little bit more ambiguous, and I'm not sure. So, heraldic animals did appear as sketches in these books, as did textures and patterns. So this is the butterflies and a leaf marker. So we have a different species each side of the centre line, and I would flip them so they came out symmetrical. Could you post that?
The lot?
Yeah. Okay, so what we have here, this is this, and that is a green swallowtail, which might exist in here. No, it's somewhere though.
Jane asked if the blue pages are watercolour, but they're just colour pencil, aren't they?
They were just colour pencil, but interestingly enough, the pencil is watercolour. So if you damp them, if they got wet, it would flow like watercolour.
Do you ever do that?
Not in this, because the paper would buckle too much and you couldn't see the result well.
The cats are popular.
They were with me. Okay, so these are the sketches we did for the church, and that was great fun.
Chengus is asking about your desert island paintings, and I might suggest we do that in the Q&A for Friday.
Okay.
Yeah. When you say heraldic, do you mean they're symbolic of something, lion for bravery, for example?
They're used symbolically, yes, in a logo.
But also, heraldry has certain pattern positions of animals, doesn't it? Like,
It does.
I can't remember what they're called. Sagent,
I can't remember.
passant, rampant. That was one of them.
Well, you could figure out what that is, can't you? Okay, so here we're mixing up stages and near-fest logos. This is the stages for yes.
A few people have asked, can we see some of your sketchbooks from your RA or RCA days, the 70s sketchbooks?
Yeah, in a minute.
Laura says, rampant, regardant, salient, passant, gardant. Got a couple of them.
Thank you. Okay.
So, why did you redraw the relayer here?
I redrew it because I wanted to do mugs like willow pattern out of cobalt. So they're incredibly beautiful colours.
No, you haven't got one.
Damn, why not?
Sorry, I didn't think of it.
Okay, well, but I like the black and white drawings too. So somewhere in here, I did all of them. Well, I did
like
4 of them.
these. So these are stage.
Yes, they're stage stuff. I'm just going to whip up another book.
We've been asked what size are those sketchbooks? So those larger ones right there, are they A3?
They're A3, which is roughly 16.5 by 12 inches, but roughly. Ah, there we go. So other Yes designs turning up in black and white. And this was me. This is a gecko, and I was designing a gecko with poison dart frog patterns. Fire toad, I think it's called. Anyway, it's very interesting how much you can transfer the characteristics of one creature onto another, and it still has that credibility. You know, if you research nature far and wide, you feel like you would come across them lurking somewhere. Excuse me, I'm going to get my water. Okay, this is lettering I did for. Oh bloody hell! What was the name of that band?
Can you not tell from the lettering you've done?
This is the title, not the name of the band. The name of the band was Electric Sheep, and I forget the title. And it might show up. No, it doesn't look like it's going to.
someone suggested you do a book just of your sketchbook work, that would be a lot of books, wouldn't it? But
It would be a lot of books, because I have 30 odd sketchbooks and I have 5,000 drawings that aren't in sketchbooks. But
you wouldn't have to have every page of the book just one page of the sketchbook, would you? You could kind of squash them in.
how come I have a barbarian for a daughter? No squashing them in. Okay. Yeah, I enjoy
What's this
working in a
one?
book. Okay, again, this is one of Hank's games, Tetris thing, and it's like you move little plastic things in a box. So that I think it's 4x4 with one gap, and it's called In a Row. Oh, I was doing something for Chris Squire there.
Danielle asked, do you ever throw anything out? No, I can answer that one. He doesn't.
Depends who they are. Okay. So this is back to electric sheep. And okay, we're getting to it here. S-H-E-L. So this is electric sheep. That was a nice logo, it really worked. It looked electric.
So, as we go through, is this one of the sketchbooks where you worked left to right, or did you work right to left with this one?
I think I'm going backwards. I think I would have started back here and worked up.
And you're adjusting as you go, that's why you're doing these.
That's right, yeah. Okay, EEP. Sheep.
How about digitising the sketchbooks for viewing on computers?
We've been offered an exhibition, and one of the proposals was that they would scan all the sketchbooks and make digital sketchbooks where the pages would turn digitally. And the other thing I would like to do is I'd like to publish the sketchbooks in replica on the same paper, so you could get the same translucency.
Yeah. But you've got 30.
Yeah. It would be a lot. You could miss out the blank pages, but as you can see, there's not many blank pages.
We had a nice question.
There's a blank one.
Eric asked, are there sketches in these books that are just ideas done for the sheer pleasure of drawing for no particular client? Just for Mr. D himself?
That would be in the landscape and architecture, but where they were mostly just done for fun. And about a quarter of these where I would do a font which didn't include all the letters, and I would, for fun, finish off the alphabet.
We're just about running out of time.
Okay, well we're finished and now we've started.
Or we're going to go through all of them?
No, this is the last one.
You're going to go through the whole thing. Okay, while you're doing that...
Don't sound so appalled.
No, I love looking at these.
Have you ever seen them?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have.
Freya's right. We've overrun our time, so I will...
We'll be back.
We'll be
Oh,
back.
I like that one.
That was finally done as a black and white drawing. Oh, here it is.
But what I'm going to say, like I say every time, is put your questions in if you didn't get to them. And particularly if you put question for Friday, because I just notice it more easily, then we'll do your question in the Friday Q&A, won't we? So if we didn't get to it today,
Absolutely,
we'll
we
come
will.
back.
Absolutely, we will. When we talk about the stages, we will go through other sketchbooks. So this is one that wasn't for a client; it was just done for fun. I'm just going to flick through these last pages.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, those are the best ones. Why'd you leave them till the end? I see. You started with a lot of enthusiasm and then sort of waned as you.
I think I'm going to replace you with a cat. It just purrs. Okay. Oh, this was fun. Drawing the turtle. I love doing that.
Matt's got a family to go home to, Dad.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go slightly out of sync, so I've got a bit longer to go.
All right. Well, we've run over time. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will do this again on Monday when we'll talk about stages. Then we're going to take a 2-week break, and possibly, sadly, probably, Freya's going to go back to Japan in those 2 weeks, and then we're going to figure out a way to link up in Japan.
Yes.
So we'll continue at 2 in the morning.
Yeah, the time might have to change. Yeah, but we'll figure it out.
Well, we'll definitely do the Q&As together. Yeah. Oh, I've forgotten these. Oh my God, we're only halfway through.
Dad, next time.
Next time? All right, next time.
Do you finish now?
Yep.
Thank you, everybody. See you next week. Well, Friday.
Yes, thank you very much. Oh, and by the way, for those who we haven't told, this is being filmed today by Matt Sunderland, who is a fabulous filmmaker of artists, and his website is
mattsunderland.co.uk.
1 minute. This is it, very elegantly printed out.
It is very elegant. That's my handwriting.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you, Freya.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, elegant.
I liked it when it was sparkly. Oh, God.